We are live. Sorry, I'm about 4 minutes late. I was on a call with a client and we ran a little bit late, and I had to go pee. So we're here now, and I'm so happy to be here with you for another Wednesday live talk with yours truly. Hope you guys have been having a fabulous week so far. Anything new and exciting to share? Anything to report? I'd love updates. You guys are kind of quiet, and I would love to know what's going on, what's going well, what you're struggling with. So this past week or so, the main theme of what we've been talking about a lot has been about hey Brenda, has been about meal planning, meal prepping, because it is like one of the most asked about topics, and it's something that I feel like get a lot of questions on, a lot of people struggle with. And so I thought, hey, let's put together a meal prep guide. And if you haven't already downloaded your copy of the meal prep guide, it is tagged or pinned to the top of the group where it says announcements. So be sure, if you haven't already downloaded the meal prep guide, it has meal prep tips, but it also has 10 original recipes, which I think is kind of cool. And if you do have your copy already, you can actually click, so it's a downloadable PDF, you can actually click on the photo in the recipe and it will redirect you to the video to watch me make it. So I think that's kind of cool. We gotta love technology, right? And at the end, if you haven't already made it all the way to the end, it actually gives a little sneak peek of my my upcoming offer for everybody. And I'm going to be making that announcement officially on Sunday, so I'm super excited about that. But if you have your meal prep guide and you've looked through it all, then you already will know what I'm talking about. So that's kind of exciting. But yeah, so today's actually the last day that you can download it, just because I wanted to make sure that you guys all got it. And if you have any questions about any of that, be sure to let me know. But I figured to honor, I'm saying a lot today. Gosh, sorry about that. Let me take a sip of water and kind of reset the palate. Okay, so I thought it would be appropriate in honor of the last day for the meal prep guide to be available that I would do a live video on meal planning, because like I said, hey Megan, how are you doing, girl? Like I said, it's something I get so many questions about, so I thought it would be really valuable to talk about meal planning. So let's get right into it. And so like I said before, if you haven't gotten your meal prep guide, go to the top of the group where the pinned announcements are, download that, you'll be good to go. So, meal planning, let's talk about it. I asked what meal you guys struggle with the most in our discussion question from yesterday, and everybody said dinner, which I understand. That's a very easily understandable one to struggle with, because it's at the end of the day, you've been working or doing school or doing, whatever, taking care of kids, whatever it is that you've been doing. And at the end of the day, you're tired and you maybe don't want to have to think about it. But identifying what meal you personally struggle with the most and starting there. Because here's the thing. 9 times out of 10, what happens when you feel overwhelmed and stressed out? If you're like, oh, I got a meal plan and prep, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I got to do them all, and you haven't been doing any. When we're feeling overwhelmed and stressed out, the easiest thing to do is nothing at all, right? So then we say, oh, okay, well, screw this. I feel overwhelmed. I'm just going to get takeout, or I'm just going to get, whatever food it is, and not have to worry about it. So my biggest recommendation when we're starting is identifying where in your day which meal in your day you struggle with the most. Is it breakfast because you are running, you're like, the house is crazy, you're getting the kids ready, you're trying to get out the door for work and lunch is packed and whatever, and breakfast feels really hectic, and so then you normally skip breakfast? Or maybe is it lunch because you're at work and you are you just kind of throw stuff together, or you go to a fast food place because it's most convenient, and so that's what you want to prioritize? Or is it dinner because that's when you feel the most tired and you have to maybe prepare stuff for other people too? So definitely start by identifying which meal you're struggling with the most and start there. Because if you know anything about me, I'm all about those baby steps, right? We don't want to feel overwhelmed. We don't want to feel stressed out. We want to take it in realistic, digestible, pun intended, chunks in order to make lasting change. Doesn't matter if we overhaul everything all at once, if it only lasts for 2 weeks and then you're right back where you started, or maybe even a little bit behind afterwards because you're so burnt out. So we're in the business of making sustainable, lasting changes to your lifestyle, right? So if you want to start meal planning, start with one meal. And then once that one meal is, oh, no problem, you got it, then you can add another meal. Okay, so we're going to go through the example of dinner because that's what most people said that they struggle with the most. So with that, I have a couple steps that I think would be the easiest to kind of work through, and the steps that I recommend the most in terms of thinking about what it is to do for your meal plan. So I'll use the word meal plan to talk about your plan for the meals throughout the week. If you've heard me talk about meal plans before, in terms of, here's your meal plan, eat the exact same thing every day, don't stray from it because otherwise you're a failure. That doesn't work long term. That's not something that's going to help you be successful long term, nor will it help you learn the skills to actually implement for the rest of your life. So when I say meal plan, it's in the terms of planning out your meals for the week, but of course there's going to be some flexibility and you're learning how to implement it. So now we're clear on that, right? So starting off, I recommend maybe figuring out what you have on hand. If you're trying to use stuff in the freezer, use stuff from the pantry, just take inventory of what you've got going on, and if there's anything pressing that you want to use up. Or if you have some sort of special inspiration that for example, me on Monday, this is something I've been kind of working on mentally for a while. I really wanted to make healthy tuna noodle casserole. And so I had all the things and I made it on Monday. So anyway, I don't even know why I brought that up. But if you have, I know. If you have this special meal or an inspiration that you've been craving or you've been wanting to make, work that into it. And then, figure out what you have. If you have some ground turkey that's been sitting in the freezer for a couple months that you want to use, maybe you want to pull that out and work that into your plan for the week. And then think about the other meals that you want to make. So maybe that means you're sitting down with your family, with your partner, or yourself, and you think, okay, these are the things that I have already on hand that I want to use. Maybe you do a quick Pinterest search, or you're looking online, different recipes that seem good to you, or you go through your mental inventory, because we all have those go-to meals that we love to make, right? Or love to eat. And so I would recommend starting off with maybe only 3 meals for the week and plan. And so determine what meals you're going to make. Maybe that Maybe you're like me and you like using pen and paper and you write it down. I literally write stuff down on a pen and paper and then take a photo of it so I can have it on my phone. Why don't you just write it in your notes section, Zoe? Well, I don't know, because I like to write it down with pen and paper because I'm old school. That's besides the point. Anyway, figure out what you want to make. Maybe you write it down, maybe you put it in your phone, and you determine what you need for those meals. Oh, I forgot something. Something else that you're going to want to do while you're determining what you have on hand is maybe you also want to look and see what's on sale. Because, you know, different stores, wherever you shop, will probably have different things on sale. And then that way you can plan a little bit more according to if you're trying to keep things budget friendly, especially right now, right? We're all trying to shop those sales. And so knowing what's on sale or knowing what you're wanting to use and incorporating that into the meals that you're going to make. And then you determine what meals you're going to make, whether that's from your mental inventory or from online. You can put it down, and then from there, transfer that to a grocery list of, okay, these are the things I'm making. Here's what I already have. Here's what I need. And then you can go forth to the grocery store, get your stuff. Now, here's the key. You are now here, back home after you've grocery shopped. Oh, make sure that you go in with the mentality of, I'm going to cook once, eat twice. So you want to make enough so that, you know, if you're cooking a fresh meal if you can and want to cook a fresh meal every single night, that's awesome. Work that into your plan to make sure you have enough recipes or meals that you're going to be making. But if you're like me, maybe don't want to cook a fresh meal every single night, so you're going to go to intentionally preparing more than what you know you will eat or you and your family will eat, so that you have leftovers that you can use later on. So the whole concept of cook once, eat twice. So that's why I said maybe you want to start with 3 meals so you intentionally have some leftovers to go towards your meal plan later in the week. And so couple different things that you can do when you get home from grocery shopping. Maybe you do some prep work ahead of time, whether that's washing and chopping up some of your veggies to make sure that when it's time to cook them or put them in a salad, they're already ready to go, because prepping up veggies can be kind of time consuming. So if you can knock that off of your list or do that ahead of time when you have some extra time on a day off or after you go grocery shopping, I highly recommend it, because like bell peppers, that kind of takes a while to cut them, take the seeds out, dice them all up. And then if you're trying to have them, you know, add to a stir fry later, then you can just throw them in and you won't have to spend as much time preparing that meal fresh if you've already done a little bit of prep work. So I find that really helpful in terms of making your fresh meals at home more convenient and cutting down on prep time. So when we're driving home from work and it's Wednesday night and you're tired and you don't know what's for dinner and you don't feel like cooking, and that's when maybe you're more likely to go to the drive-thru or get takeout, right? That's when we don't have a plan, that's when we're more likely to make a choice that's not necessarily in line with your goals. So you want to make your decisions in line with your goals, whether that's building muscle, losing fat, enhancing performance, whatever your goals are. And I'd love to know what your goals are. But that being said, we want to always kind of keep that in mind. Now, of course, there's going to be that balance and that moderation following that 80-20 rule that I talk about so much. But it's what we do most of the time, not what we do some of the time. So we want what we do most of the time to be in line with our goals. So looping back around to Wednesday evening, driving home from work, feeling tired and not sure what's for dinner. Well, actually, I already shopped. I already know what is for dinner Maybe you have a rough idea of, I'm going to make these 3 meals throughout the week, and on the night of, I'll decide what it is. Or maybe you want to say, I'm making this on Monday, this on Wednesday, this on Friday. I don't know. It's going to be individualized. And the most important thing is to recognize what will make it most realistic and most stick-to-itness. I know that there's a word that I'm looking for. I just can't think of it. Most realistic and most sustainable, and being able to follow through with it for you. So what works for you might not work for somebody else. So it's important to recognize that, and maybe that means you're going to try a couple different things before you're able to say, okay, this is what works for me. So that being said, now we can cut down on that roadblock. We want to make the path of least resistance to your goals, right? So if we can make that path less resistant by already having a plan for what you're going to make throughout the week, and you've already got the ingredients at home, and you already have half of the things prepped up because you took 10 minutes to wash and chop your veggies when you got home from the grocery store, then you're going to be so much more set up for success. So comment what your goal is going to be in terms of meal planning. Which meal are you going to start with? Is it going to be breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks even? How many meals do you think you want to plan for the week? Are you somebody who's like, yeah, I only want to plan for 3, make enough to have leftovers and call it good? Or are you someone who said, leftovers? I don't eat leftovers. I'm going to make a fresh meal every night. If that's the case, great. I want you to let me know what your goal is in terms of which meal, how many meals, and maybe any other goals you have for meal planning. Okay? I'd love to know what it is. And take it a step further. If you feel so inclined, I'd love to see what you make. So whether that's on Saturday, Sunday, tonight, post your dinner in the group, because I'd love to see it. And everybody else, I'm sure, would love to see what you're making. And also think of it as you're sharing the love. You're spreading your ideas. And, somebody else might see that and say, oh my gosh, that looks so dang yummy. I want to make that too. And now you've just inspired somebody else to make your recipe. So, like I said at the beginning, if you have not already downloaded the meal prep guide, go get it. It's the last day that you can. It's pinned up to the top of the announcements. And I will see y'all next week. Let me know if there's anything you need from me, because I'm here for you. Have a great night. Bye.